I'm Georgina Hall, and this is the Female Empowered Podcast, inspired by the casual conversations I've had with thousands of women over my career in coaching. This is not just another wanky women's wellness podcast. We are bringing the uprising. Hi friends, welcome to the Female Empowered Podcast. I'm your host, Georgina Hall, personal trainer, online coach, and offer of opinions. Today we are joined by Charlotte Staerck, who is the co-founder and CEO of the Handbag Clinic. Hello, Charlotte.
Hi.
We've also got Beppy here on the co-host.
Hi.
Beppy's brought her dog Cass, and Charlotte's brought her dog as well. If you're watching on YouTube, what's your dog called, Charlotte?
This is Enzo.
Hi, Enzo. And I feel like a fool because I'm the only one who hasn't brought a dog. So I've brought my new tree, if you can see on the video. Charlotte, thank you for joining us today.
That's okay.
We've got some questions for you, and some of them have been sent by other people, and I don't understand the question, so you will have to explain it to me.
Yeah, that's cool.
Can you start by telling us a little bit about the Handbag Clinic?
Yes, so we restore and repair all handbags. So everything from like crazy Hermes Birkins that cost hundreds of thousands of pounds down to kind of like your nana's bag who's just broke in at the supermarket. But we also buy and sell pre-owned designer them. We make sure they're in the best possible condition, and then we sell them from there.
Cool. So you sell on pre-owned handbags, and you also fix other people's for them so they can have them back and like new.
Yes, exactly.
And what gave you the idea? When did you start this, and what made you think of the idea and that it would make a great business?
So my husband has a business called Furniture Clinic, and they started out they did leather products, and then they moved on to doing kind of repairs in people's homes on sofas. And people would say, well, my wife's got this problem with a handbag, or I have this problem with my handbag that's very similar. So they started the restoration side through Furniture Clinic, and then Handbag Clinic was born in 2013. At the time, I was just in the background, like I had my own career and my own job that I would obviously just kind of like put in. And then we opened a store in Newcastle. That was huge. It was, much bigger than the store that we have in the King's Road, Chelsea. And I used to kind of flip bags on the side. So I would like buy a handbag from eBay, wear it for a bit, and then I would sell that to buy the next one. So that I was like, we should start doing this, professionally. And I was a buyer, actually for the NHS. So I moved from buying kind of knee replacements to buying designer handbags. And
same.
Yeah, it just kind of all fell into place. Like it's very much been kind of like a snowball effect rather than like, right, this is what we're going to do. And it's done really well. So definitely made the right decision to leave the NHS and do this.
That's amazing. Like 7 years in business in this day and age, absolutely unbelievable. Do you ever feel that you maybe aren't taken seriously as an entrepreneur because of your age and because of being a woman?
100%, like it, and because I've worked with my husband and he is a very successful businessman, people either treat me like I've been gifted this pet project, like, oh, she's just been given this to do as a little hobby on the side. And I'm like, this is not a hobby. This is like a full-time business, stressful job. And I was at a business awards with my husband, and a man outright turned his back on me and said, I don't want to listen to you, and just turned his back to speak to my husband. Like, I've experienced it all. Like, so I get people like all the time underestimating me. That's the biggest thing that annoys me, like being underestimated. And I'm like, it just makes me want to show them all though. So I tend to just do that.
Yeah. Do you find that it's actually quite motivating?
100%. Like, it really is for me, because I think I've always been very like, well, I'm from a single mum household. So for me, it's like I've watched my mum like do it on her own. And I think it makes me just be like, right, come on then, we'll show you. And I think what I've noticed in the past kind of because it got to the point where people couldn't ignore my presence and my responsibility over the business anymore when it came to press and media, because in my first 6 months of taking over like the whole thing, not just the buying and selling, but like everything, all the stores, all of the repair side of it. If that was kind of 3 years ago now, I grew the business 186% in 6 months. And from there, we've gone from strength to strength, all under like my like command almost. So I think now luckily it's starting to shift. And I think the way people are viewing women in business is shifted quite a lot in the past kind of 12 months, but you still get them all the time.
And so let's talk about that a little bit, about how people view women in business. Do you get called a bitch?
Oh, all day long. Like, yes. I think that definitely as well, being from the Northeast, and like I just have this like tone about me, like I can say the smallest thing and people are like, bloody hell, what? And I'm like, God, I didn't mean it like that. But I definitely get, the bitch card. I've had obviously staff, like if you get someone unhappy, I remember a girl a long time ago in London, she'd done something and she was unfortunately being let go. And she was just like, what a bitch. And then like stormed out the door. And I was like, well, you were the one who did the bad thing here. Like, it wasn't, you like didn't, I think she like lied about being in a car accident. And I found her out because she'd Googled car crash and just pulled an image off Google. And I obviously did the same thing and found the image and was like, you're a liar.
Wow.
And I was the bitch though. And you get it all the time. I read.
You're in charge. Yeah. Do you think that they would call your husband a bitch if he fired them?
Absolutely not. Like, he would just be being a man in business, doing what he needs to do for the business. Like,
assertive, being a powerful, assertive man.
100%. That would be it. And I think there's been a culture of you're not allowed to be emotional in the workplace, and women tend to be seen as emotional. But I just think that like my emotions that are involved in this business is what makes it successful. Like, I care and I'm so passionate. So I'm not going to like hide that, because why should I be?
But I guess emotions in the workplace, again, come off differently between male and female, because again, a man might be seen as passionate, whereas a woman is hysterical, or you're not allowed to cry.
Yeah, and I think I'm not a big crier myself, but I think like it's more like, I think there's a view of how you should react to things in business, and I do think men are just so differently, and that might work in so many industries, but there's a whole host of industries where like it's actually so much better to have a female lead. Like, I mean, even running countries, look at New Zealand. Like,
she's amazing. I love Jacinda.
Yeah,
she's my hero.
I think it's people like her though are making like people wake up and go, well, actually, you can be a woman and do that, and it works really well, and maybe even works better.
100%, because actually Brené Brown, in her Dare to Lead book, she's also got a podcast out about this now, about they were talking about female leadership, but as a leader in general, whether male or female, part of being a leader is having compassion for the people that you lead. And actually, that's a traditionally feminine trait, having compassion for your people. And it's why Jacinda has done so amazingly at shutting down and dealing with COVID in New Zealand, because she has dealt with her country and her people with compassion and empathy. And although men need that as well, it's massive in the military. You can't go into war with people who you don't have compassion, you don't want to look out for. Yet somehow it comes to business and females, and it doesn't quite come across the same. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. It doesn't come across the same, and I think we're a long way off kind of where we need to be, is like a general term in business. But it is nice. I have to say there are a lot of changes, and I would say the past kind of few years have been that for women. And the way that it was like things like 3-4 years ago. There was something about me in like a local Newcastle newspaper, and the way people commented about me was like so awful. And then now when things go out in the press, like the comments are very different, and you do see the shift, and hopefully we're on that right path.
So you've noticed a difference in comments on social media and stuff over years?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think there's still, obviously, you're always going to get people, like the Daily Mail comments is the worst place in the world. But, the difference in the way, like, there's a lot more support. There's a lot more people who want to come forward and say, oh, well done. Like, that's really great. And whereas back then, it was very much like, oh, it's a pet project. She's just been given a little hobby, or, oh, what a bitch, or commenting on my appearance. I got that all of the time. It would be, your appearance came first. And now I think that there is a lot more support out there for women on women. Like we've came together and been like, right, we need to do something.
I do think there's a definite shift. There seems to be a movement on the women that I follow on social media about building each other up. If you've heard of the Smurfette syndrome before, it's how women are competing with each other for this one Smurfette position. So women seem to be shitting all over each other and trying to drag each other down because there's only one Smurfette. But why aren't women asking the question, why is there only one Smurfette? Let's all be Smurfettes and big each other up. So it's good to see that you have noticed the shift in comments and stuff that you get from other women.
Yeah, it is definitely different, and I want every person who works for me, who wants to come to me for inspiration, to walk away and feel like, oh, like they want me to do well. Like, and I don't know, it doesn't like register to me why anyone would think any differently. But I think, yeah, there's definitely been a shift for other people who may have not felt like that way or been more inclined to go to the negative. I think they're thinking twice about it now.
Like, you don't have to try and take someone else's cake. You can bake your own.
Yeah.
That'd exactly. Be like if Beppy was jealous of you selling handbags because that somehow meant that she had less plumbing business.
Exactly.
You wouldn't feel like that, would you, Beps?
I wouldn't.
Are you a big supporter of other women?
Who are you talking to?
You, Beppy.
Oh, yeah, I think the belter. I think the class. And I love your business as well. I've loved it for donkeys. It's really cool. Thanks. I remember seeing in the shop. It's on the corner. It's next to the diamond strip, isn't it? On the corner.
Yeah, well, we've just moved into Fenwick. We moved into Fenwick last week, and then we obviously had to close again.
Good timing.
I know. Yeah. But yeah, thank you very much for that.
You're very welcome.
How have you adapted with COVID and lockdown, Charlotte?
The first time was a little bit like, rabbit in headlights, like, right, what on earth's it was more what's gonna happen here, like how are people people just stop spending? But because of the industry we're in, obviously we are geared up to clean. So we already were obviously cleaning everything, and we already offered that resale aspect without having to worry about, is it who's been touching it beforehand, because it would all be cleaned. So we did introduce new cleaning, but we had to change everything to online. We did have a really good online platform anyway, but the stores were the kind of driver for the restoration side. Like, people want to come into the store and have a chat with you about what's going to happen to their bag, and even to come in and have a look at them. But we've been very fortunate that we just like straight away we're open, and the same applies this time. We're just reminding people we're here. The clinic is running. you know, you don't need to worry about any of your items. You can get them to us via DPD. We have like a contactless courier situation. Anyone who's self-isolating, we can organise for DPD to come to their door to take it. And we just had to make sure people could get things to us and you know, add some cleaning in between. And obviously, where possible, people have worked from home. But touch wood, it's all worked out kind of all right. And I hope this next lockdown's the same.
So you found that people are still buying, or are people more likely to be selling their handbags to try and make a little bit of money?
A bit of both, and we need a bit of both because you need the bags you need the bags coming in to then sell them. I mean, our sales in like March, April, May grew 500%.
Wow.
It was like crazy, and year on year as a whole, we're at 308%. So you know, people have just gone to the online store and have still been buying the bags.
It's because we haven't got anything else to do. So we just sit at home and online shop.
And I think people who might have, obviously with sustainable fashion kind of booming and like people being a lot more conscious about how they consume, I think people have thought, right, well, I'm not just going to go online and buy, you know, direct from the brand. Or people who maybe would have spent like every week, you know, they're going on a night out, they buy something from the fast fashion brands like Nasty Gal and Pretty Little Thing. They've not been doing that, so they've saved and they've thought, right, well, I want to buy something that's like a real treat, something that's going to last. So it's definitely shifted the way people kind of consume, I think, and drawn people to people who are more sustainable.
That's interesting, and I think there's a lot of support for small business in this as well, at least from what I've seen. People are trying to support local, so going to see you rather than going to I don't know, a mass department store or something like that makes people feel good about themselves as well.
Definitely, and like I love it. Like I watch every sale, I watch every review. Like I'm never off it. They're like my most frequented things. I'm always watching. So it genuinely does make someone's day, where I don't think like kind of the CEO of the big brands is sat watching the sales go through and know the names of their customers in the way that like myself does.
For sure, it's really nice as a small business owner myself as well. We do really appreciate it, and it's nice to make a purchase and put money into the economy where you know it's going to make a difference to somebody's life, and they are going to care, and they're going to care about you as the customer. You're not just a number.
Definitely.
What's the weirdest thing you've bought in lockdown, Charlotte, off the internet?
Oh, I bought at the start of the last lockdown, I bought a bonsai tree and I was like, I am going to nurture this bonsai tree. It's going to be amazing. It was dead within 3 days.
No, I would have had it. That's what I'm doing for lockdown too. I'm getting on board with the plant life, and I'm going to nurture something every day.
Yeah, I really feel like I do have a lot of plants in my house. You can see some like flowers and things behind me, but the bonsai tree was an epic fail. Like,
oh man. What's the weirdest thing you've bought, Beppy, in lockdown?
I'm not telling you.
Why? Is it rude? Is it naughty?
No, it's just I don't even know what I bought. Not bought that much.
You've not bought that much. I've got an octopus on the way that's for autistic kids. Is what it was designed for, so that they can express their emotions. So my girlfriend's bought me one so that she knows when she's allowed to speak to us or not. If it's got grumpy face, just don't speak to me.
It's a good idea.
So what do you think about people who are sitting at home in lockdown, Charlotte, and they've got a business idea, which Beppy actually has loads of really good business ideas? What do you say to them as a startup inspiration?
Just like do it. And like there's so many ways, that there's so many grants out there. There's so many people who want to mentor people in this, even if you don't know everything. Like I am obviously not an accountant, like I'm not very good with, particularly amazing with finance. So I have somebody who works with me and really supports me on all of that. And I mean, with the like the Crowdcube, we've done a raise on Crowdcube before as a bigger business, but you can go on there as a total startup. And there are people, I check it all the time and give to any business, even if it's like £20, £50, just invest in their businesses, and they've actually seen a huge rise in people investing with those, because everyone wants to support those small brands right now. So if you've got an idea, it's actually a really good time to go for it.
Right, Beppy, give us one of your ideas, and Charlotte will be the Dragon's Den panel. You pitch your idea to Charlotte.
Right. This one is a cleaner who goes to elderly people's houses and has a cup of coffee with them after they've cleaned.
Well, that's perfect for right now. I think that, like, I genuinely think, like, if I would 100% want somebody to go and do that for a grandparent, like, why would you not? Because you can't always dedicate the time, like, as much as you would like, but you want to make sure that they're not getting lonely. And loneliness is, especially in this time, going to be it's a huge factor in it, and a scary thing. So I think that's a great idea.
So you're in.
I'm in.
How much money are you willing to put into this, Charlotte?
Oh, put us into the spot. I don't know. I need to know what it's going to cost.
You can buy it as a Henry Hoover.
Right, I'll get you a Henry Hoover.
There you go.
This is a beautiful startup here, isn't it? Have you got any products you'd like to pitch, Beppy?
Oh.
I'm putting you under the spot because I think you've got some naughty ones.
I have. They're the only ones that are in my mind, so I can't say them.
Well, you can if you want. We're all grown-ups here.
No, I'll not say them.
Charlotte might want to be associated with such products anyway.
I don't want to be associated with them. Never mind.
All right. So you just want to do these ones anonymously. Okay. Yeah. Just in it for the cash. Yeah. What would you want 2013 Charlotte to know that you know now?
That every little bump in the road isn't a disaster. I have stressed myself out rotten over so many things that, like, now I look back, were like so minuscule, and like I can't help myself because I genuinely, like, am bothered. But it's just like little things. I think, why were you so stressed about that? That was like nothing. It lasted like 2 days and it was done, and it was never heard of again. And I just wish that, like, I'd known which things matter and which things don't. Like, you know, it is something you can only learn in time within your business. But yeah, I've caused myself so much heartache over nothing.
Have you ever read The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck?
I have, yes, I have. My friend bought me that probably a few years ago just for this exact reason.
It's a good book. You've got to choose what you give your fucks to and about. Is it Matt Haig? I've got it on a shelf behind me.
Oh, it says called Sarah.
Oh, Mark Manson's the one that I've got, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Oh, I've got another one from a female author.
Yeah, I know exactly which one you mean. I've seen it at the airport. I'll put it in the show notes when I find out exactly what it's called. But that's the one that I've got, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, Mark Manson. And I would highly recommend it to everybody. I've got a question off a client for you, Charlotte, and I don't understand the question, so I need you to explain it to me and then answer it, please.
Okay.
Do you love to go to Tesco using a Birkin bag before it gets sold?
I would never, ever do that.
I don't understand. What's a Birkin bag?
So a Birkin bag is a bag that was originally many years ago created to actually be a men's travel bag by the brand Hermes, which is like the biggest in the handbag world. Then actress and model Jane Birkin wore it, and it got reborn as the Birkin bag. And after, there's a Sex and the City episode all dedicated to this bag. And ever since kind of that time, it's crazy. Like, they're purposely made so that you want them. So they're made, there's only set ones made. You can't just walk into a shop and buy one. You have to be offered one. So,
I remember seeing that episode on Sex and the City now that you say that.
Yeah, so like I genuinely have clients who've walked into Hermes with a flask of coffee for 3-4 days in a row and refused to leave until they were offered one. You've on average got to spend kind of oh, hello Enzo, £8,000 to £10,000 in the store on, you know, the sandals and the jewelry and the other bags that they offer before you'll even be potentially offered one. And obviously you don't get like pick your color or anything. You just get given what the sales consultant's willing to give you. So
this is an amazing marketing strategy. What do you have to do? What do you do to get one? I want one now, and I've only just heard about them.
So I really controversially, I can't believe I'm going to admit this, like on the record, but I don't really like them. They're not for me.
Oh,
but
no.
the Kelly bag, I do like, but I'm a Chanel girl. I like the other brands better personally. But you've got to spend money in the store. So you've got to like build up your kind of portfolio in the store, or you could very naughtily kind of maybe offer some money or some nice gifts to the sales consultants or managers in the store. That's not unheard of. And yeah, you just have to wait. Like I say, this woman had spent, I think she'd spent about £8,000, and she was like, I want this bag, I want a bag. And she went for 3 days and sat for 3 days in the store refusing to leave with a flask of coffee and a magazine until she was given the chance to buy one.
To me, that seems like the wrong way to go about it, just refusing to leave.
Yeah, well, that's kind
I would be a bit nicer about it, me.
She wasn't like, she just basically said, I want to show my dedication. Like, she's a really lovely like lady, but she just...
Oh, right, okay. It wasn't like a sit-in dirty protest or anything.
Definitely not. No, it just
proving herself to the handbag gods.
Yeah, exactly. But for me, they're just not my favorite. And as well for insurance, like these bags are anywhere between we repaired one once that was £140,000.
Wow.
So, the most expensive one that's ever been sold was £273,000, I think it was off the top of my head.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so like, you know, insurance wise, if one comes in, there's no way it's leaving our safe. Never mind me going to Tesco.
You just mincing around Tesco with it. So you don't ever borrow the bags yourself?
I never ever have. No, it's just, I do buy them and then I'll sell them back to the business, but no, it just, I hold myself by the same rules as my staff. And if one of the team did that, I would be pretty furious with them. So
yeah.
No, I did once lend a member of the team one of my personal bags to go to an event in London because we were going together, and she had like a red skirt on and she dyed my white handbag red. A YSL bag, and I was like, you are lucky that we work in this industry, because if I
was going to say, good job, you know where to fix it.
Yeah, so luckily it was an easy fix. We just kind of made the bag white again. But yeah, she was like, I'm so sorry. But these things happen. That's why we're here.
And that's another good example of you leading from the front and being a proper leader.
Yeah, I definitely I'm there scrubbing the toilets in stores. I'm there serving customers. I'm there answering the phone. I'm there doing, just yesterday I was like, cleaning out the concession in Fenwick, doing all of that. You've got to muck in and you've got to lead by example, as you say.
Absolutely. Have you got any questions for Charlotte, Becky?
I was actually going to ask her about staff. How hard is it to get good staff with it being a niche little market?
So we're lucky that we in the Northeast don't have a very high staff turnover. But when we've grown, it's asking people if they want to come and be around designer handbags all day and look at designer handbags all day. So we do tend to find quite good people. London's a bit trickier. Sales consultant in London is a lot, it's hard, it's difficult to find somebody good. There's a lot more I'll just go get a job somewhere else. But in the Northeast, the team are so, the whole team's amazing, but in the Northeast, you tend to get people who just come into the business and boom, the girl who answered the phones in 2013 now runs the clinic and is my right-hand woman. So I just want everyone to stay and grow with the business, and really I encourage that for everyone and offer as many development opportunities as I can, really.
Are your sales assistants the same people as do your mending?
No.
That's what I was more thinking about. How do you find the good people to do your actual tailoring or mending?
So the artisans will have two different types. We have people who have kind of came from a fashion and art degree background, who've normally worked with leather and colours and textiles before. So recruit them, but they all go through a 3-year training programme. So they're constantly being trained in how to handle each bag, each leather, each skill. But we also run an apprenticeship scheme and start people who kind of may have been amazing at art, but didn't maybe do as well in their other subjects, and bring those on from an apprentice level and do more of like a intensive apprenticeship scheme with those as well.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
Do you want a job, Beppy?
Yes, please. I'll be the apprentice.
Thought that's what you were angling for. What do you think, Charlotte? Has she got what it takes?
I'll have to do a leather test. Got to come in and do one of the tests. We do the same tests that they run in Chanel for their artisans, because I'm very fortunate to have one that worked for Chanel. So, yeah.
So how did you find the person who worked for Chanel? Like, there can't be that many of them kicking about, is there?
He actually came to us. He contacted me on LinkedIn, and he was living in London. He'd been at uni in London, and he was from Hartlepool, so he was moving back. He wanted to live back in the northeast, so he found us, and I'm very grateful he did. He's phenomenal.
Wow. Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah.
Really good.
All right, Charlotte, I think we'll wrap that up for today. Where can we find you? Where can people find you?
So it is handbagclinic.co.uk, and everything's on there. We will be back in Fenwick in the northeast, and as soon as we can open, and we have stores in Leeds and in Chelsea as well.
Lush. And they can follow you on Instagram too, can't they?
Yes, we've got our Instagram, and we also have our YouTube. So Handbag Clinic is the Instagram, and Handbag Clinic Official is the YouTube, and the videos on there are just amazing.
Wicked. We'll put links to that in the show notes as well, so that people can easily find you. Thank you so much for your time today. That was really interesting.
Thank you. It's been lovely to speak to you both.
Thank you, Beppy.
Thank you. Thank you both.
And thanks for bringing your dogs. I've enjoyed seeing their little faces as well.
Yeah.
Bye, Enzo. Bye, Cass. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Talk to you soon. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
If you want to improve your well-being in a non-wanky way, you can join hundreds of other like-minded people in my monthly subscription group for live training sessions, daily workouts, nutrition tips, meditations, and more. Only £10 a month. Email me now, georgina@georginahalltraining.com. Thank you for listening to the Female Empowered podcast. If you want to hear more from us, you can follow us on Instagram @Female Empowered, where you can also get involved with our discussions, and feel free to send us a message.